Okay, Nick, some more. Okay, first off on this segment, I did not say I could control my hunger. If I did, I misspoke. I said I could influence it. And if I do say control, I only mean loosely, as in sometimes an influence is so efficient that you can call it control, but I don't really believe in the concept of control. But there's an influence, and it does create some of the same difficulties as control. It's just that I'm not strengthening that word to control. I think we just have an influence. I also think people need to realize a lot more of their will is determined by their circumstances and the way they set their mind up. But I don't want them to think they have no influence whatsoever. I think the conscious will is associated with some function in the brain that's in charge of collating and bringing together the rest of the brain and trying to represent the whole. Like the buck stops here. Not a physical brain organ, but probably distributed in the mind, but its function is to serve that purpose. And it likes to associate itself with the entire body, with the entire mind. Now, the lust that we have, and I'm using basically the idea of sexual lust, but really it does apply to lust of other sorts, any kind of lust. A lust system is stimulating different ideas as what to do. And I think, it seems to me, I surmise that it is making choices as well. There's more than one way. The lust will come up with multiple ideas, or one, but if not that, then another, of exactly how to feel and how it wants to act. And it does that in some consultation, seems to me, with myself or the other affects. Now, which things are these affects, these groups of behavior inside our mind that could be thought of as personalities with will? Because some of them might just be functions. Like maybe your knowledge of arithmetic is just a function. You give it 2 + 2 and it gives you 4. But maybe it's also like a little personality that's just sort of Asperger's-y about math, about arithmetic. And maybe simple-minded compared to us too, because it's just a little part. So I don't know, does it have will or not? Does it try to look at a problem through arithmetic? I don't really know that because I'm in my situation, but some of them seem to have this overall ability to create these options from which I will eventually act. And so that's the most interesting question, is how does the mind work? What would an operator's manual for the mind be like? Even if you say we don't actually operate it, it seems useful to me. Even though without will nothing has use, but merely happens, it still seems useful to me. Now, this is an interesting issue, a side issue, is that, I would agree that if you would say that things don't have uses in themselves, actual uses, but I do think our minds give them uses. They assign uses, and there's a genuine meaning in that for us. Okay, I don't assign a meaning a use that has meaning for everybody, but I can assign a meaning that is used for me. Since I'm similar to other creatures, actually often those people don't find it difficult to also find the use, especially if I show them, say if I create a new tool. Now, you ask what is the use of saying I, and of drawing a limit there. And I think that's obvious. I think we use I to distinguish between ourselves and others. I versus you, I versus he, different people. I can try to take responsibility for any of these distinctions and actions associated with him, say. But I have the best luck with I, and there's a real distinction there. Any system, if you look at it closely enough, is going to be open and have some blurry line. Totally isolated systems, according to current physics, if you did isolate it, is in limbo with respect to you anyway. So let's say every system at the edges is blurry, but there is a way to see what the edge of the system is. And basically what it is, at some scale that edge will seem sharp, and at some scale it'll be blurry. If the scale in which the edge starts to look blurry is a much more fine scale than when you zoom out and it seems sharp, then there is a distinction that pertains at the zoomed out scale. When you zoom in closer, you might find different distinctions. You probably will. That's how you tell the edge of a system, even though no system is totally closed off from its environment. So that's my answer to you for now, and thanks for the discussion. Cheers.